Hello there, people of the internet. I'm hungry and I think I hear dogs barking in the background. Oh boy, this is gonna be one hell of an episode. Ladies and gentlemen, I recently picked myself up something I've been wanting for a while now but never really got around to getting. This right here, very similar to what you've already seen on the channel numerous times, is a Rossi R92. This one is in 44 Magnum. I've been wanting a 44 Magnum lever action for a while now, and I just never really got around to get one because I've got a 357 Magnum lever action. Well, here in the state of Florida, as you can see, all the brush and whatnot that we have over there, 357 Magnum handles most of what it is that I'm wanting to deal with. But there's been a couple of times where 357 Magnum, whenever I'm out hunting in brush like that, wasn't really enough to be able to take care of the things that I want to take care of. And I wanted a projectile that has more mass. So whenever you have yourself more mass, it is able to punch through brush and whatnot more effectively than a smaller bullet, which tends to break apart more. Now, 44 Magnum is a powerhouse of a cartridge, but it's not exactly moving very fast in comparison to some other calibers, especially like if we're getting to full power rifle calibers. But it's not moving very fast for the size bullet that it is. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not 45 ACP slow. But just with the velocity it's at, it can punch through brush without the bullet breaking apart. 44 Magnum would make a very ideal hunting cartridge, especially since the shots I take are never past 100 yards and are rarely past 50 yards here in the environments that we are in. You'll have to forgive the wind. We just got out of a second hurricane here in the state of Florida. But I wanted a 44 Magnum for practical purposes, and of course, whenever I brought it out here to the range, I was like, you know what, this is actually really nice. I like this rifle. So this one is longer than my 357 Magnum rifle. I wanted to get one that was longer. My 357 Magnum is like a carbine style rifle, and the barrel ends right about here approximately, whereas this one right here is more of a full-length rifle style rifle. I didn't find a musket length lever action, but I did find this right here. And originally I wanted a stainless steel version of this, but then I was like, you know what? Well, yeah, I ended up getting this right here instead of the stainless steel version. I was going to go with the stainless steel version, but just circumstances. I got this because of circumstances. We'll go ahead and leave that there. So, I actually covered the history of the lever action very thoroughly in my Rossi R92 357 Magnum video, which you can go check out on the channel anytime you want. But I figure I'll go ahead and cover it again if you're too lazy to go hunt down that video. I am a big fan of lever actions, and I want to get myself an original style 1860 Henry, preferably a U-Birdie made one, but I will take the Henry made one. But with the Henry made one, just the internals are not done the way that they should be done. Perhaps I'll make a video on that at a later point in time, but the year is 1860. And the volcanic pistol has evolved to a volcanic rifle. And the volcanic rifle ends up swapping up its ammunition type. Originally it was a rocket ball ammunition without a case. They ended up adding a case to this rocket ball ammunition. It developed into 44 rimfire ammunition. Not exactly a potent cartridge, but it was way more potent than the original rocket ball ammunition. So you had your volcanic rifle, which was a lever action rifle, kind of similar-ish to this one, except it loaded from the front, and that evolved to the Henry rifle, chambered in 44 Henry rimfire. The 44 Henry rimfire was a 44 caliber bullets with, I think it was a 200 grain bullet, with 28 grains of black powder behind it, if memory serves me correctly. 44 rimfire is not reloadable, so bear that in mind. Whenever you fire it once, then that cartridge is done, and you cycle it out of there, and you know, that's it. Unlike centerfire cartridges, where you can pop the primer out, put a new primer in, reload the cartridge, it's definitely a much better system, especially if you're living on the frontier with limited resources. But 1860 Henry, I want one of those. I would really love one of those. It is a lever action system, a lot like this right here, except without a locking mechanism on it. The locking mechanism is literally just a toggle lock system inside of the receiver that breaks open whenever you cycle the action. The round ejects out of the top. There's an elevator. There's all sorts of stuff going on with the 1860 Henry. Whenever I inevitably get my hands on one of those, I will show you guys. The magazine tube is actually hollow at the bottom. and there's a follower that you have to push up to the top and then rotate up here near the muzzle in order to load your cartridges into the magazine tube. Then you let your follower down, and as you're shooting it, you have to hop your hand over that follower, because the follower will slowly follow the spring tension down the magazine tube to, you know, continuously feed rounds into the firearm as you go and cycle it. Now in 1866 they improved that feeding mechanisms by adding the Kingsgate here on the side, still chambered in 44 Henry rimfire. It was basically a 44 or an 1860 Henry, except it had the Kingsgate as opposed to having this follower system on the bottom of the magazine tube. Now, without that follower system, the magazine tube was able to be one solid piece, definitely much more rugged, much more durable, doesn't allow dirt and debris to get in. This right here is definitely a better system. You don't have to reach your hand out here to the end of the muzzle to try and reload this thing. It's definitely a safer system. You can just reload right here at the back of the system. You can keep one round in the chamber without needing to worry. You don't have to break your rifle alignment. You can literally just like this, grab a round, load right into the Kingsgate, and keep going. And you can top off this rifle much easier than you could top off the original 1860 Henry style. Now 1873, I think it was, Winchester, basically same exact system. They ended up adopting a new cartridge, the 4440 round, which had 40 grains of black powder behind it. It was a 44 caliber bullet with 40 grains of black powder behind it, so it's definitely a much more powerful round than the 44 Henry rimfire. But the 4440 was a centerfire cartridge, which meant that it could be reloaded. So there was definitely a very big step up. Now 1876, I think Winchester basically kept the same exact action as the 1873, but they scaled it up dramatically to be able to fire much more powerful, much more potent rounds. But this was really pushing that toggle lock system to its limits. And in 1886, what had happened was they actually, I think this is the same system, they actually adopted a locking system in addition to the toggle lock system that the all the other previous models had. They stuck in these two locking bars that actually lock into the bolt itself. As you can see, whenever I pull down the lever, those get out of the way to allow the bolt to open. But it's just these two solid locking bars that are attached to the back of the bolt, and that greatly strengthened the durability of the rifle. It greatly strengthened the action of the rifle to where it can handle much more potent rounds. And that there is one of the things that made these rifles capable of withstanding so much more pressures. So 1886 is whenever they added these two locking lugs. In 1892, which is the model that this is, they actually scaled it back down to pistol calibers. It was a newer technology, and they were looking to replace the 1873 pistol caliber carbine at that time. Just that's a term I use very, very loosely. Don't go yelling at me in the comments. But pistol caliber 1873, they were trying to replace it with the 1892 because it was a stronger action, and it was just a newer system, a better technological advancement system. And this was only available in the 86 at the time, up until the 92 in smaller calibers. So if you didn't want basically a buffalo gun and you just wanted a pistol caliber carbine or an intermediate caliber rifle, then you could go ahead and get that with the 92 and still have that extremely strong locking system. Now 1894, they changed up the locking system to one singular piece in the back, and that one singular piece actually had the like a firing pin spacer in the back. So if the locking system was not completely in battery, then the firing pin spacer would not be in line to hit the firing pin, and that was a good way to make sure that you did not fire out of battery. Now this right here would just have the back of the bolt, so this right here does not have that system. The locking piece was also one singular piece, if I had not said that already, as opposed to two pieces that we have on the 86 and 92 system. 1895, the lock system was basically the same, but instead of a tubular fed magazine, they went to a box fed magazine. The 1895 Winchester is a whole ball game in itself. Okay, well, that is half a century of firearms development, all in, what, 5 minutes that I took to explain that, maybe 5 to 7 minutes. But I have here a 44 Magnum lever action, And this is a Rossi R92, so it's not an original Winchester. This right here is a new production rifle, but it has not been sighted in. So that is what I plan to do today. I want to see if I can get this thing zeroed in enough for me to be able to make regular shots with this thing. You know, I'm over here looking at this thing. The technology for these lever actions had existed for a long time, basically since the 1860s, and why they continue to use not only muzzle loaders but breech loader systems. Like, I understand that they did not want to burn ammunition. Somebody's going to go and tell me that down in the comments. I understand the reason why, but man, the stupidity behind it was freaking retarded. Like, they were using, you know, rolling blocks, and they were using trap doors, basically just one shot, shove you around in there, and you have one shot before you have to reload, versus something like this lever action right here, which you can get an incredible amount of fire downrange really quickly with one of these. And if you have one of these going up against people with single shots and muzzle loaders, man, you were like a god on the battlefield. It boggles my mind that they continue to use the things that they were using. Okay, so we're out here at about 35-ish to 40 yards, and I am going to go ahead and see how zeroed this Rossi is. My other Rossi was not zeroed at all out of the box, so we're going to see how zeroed this one is. I have us a cardboard target down there. I'm just going to go ahead and send around downrange, and we're going to see where it hits. Now, with these styles of sights, the front sight has like this round peg on it. It's definitely not target sights. I think these are called buckhorn sights. But it's definitely not the most accurate of sights, so it's not like I'm going to be getting 1 MOA precision, especially here open-handed. All right. Well, that felt pretty good. I'm going to go ahead, walk down there, see where that hit, and see where I have to adjust my sights to. Now, I have my sight adjustment tool out here, and with these sights right here, they require very fine adjustment. You got to be delicate with these sights right here. They're not exactly made to be roughly abused. So it takes very delicate, very intricate precision to be able to adjust these sights. So I got my sight adjustment tool right here and right here, and I'll just delicately. Alright, the wind noise is likely going to be terrible out here because I have no cover on the camera. But offhand, looked alright. Now we're going to rest on this tree a little further distance back. We're going to send around, see where it hits and where I have to make some adjustments. Alright, well, that actually sounded like we hit the steel. Let me wander down there, see what that looks like, and I will adjust accordingly. Okay, after some very gentle, violent sight alignment, I think I got this roughly where I'm wanting it to be. I'm going to send around downrange and walk down there, check it out, see what we're looking like, but I bet this is going to be pretty damn close. Okay, I can't see it from here. Damn, why am I so blind? Let me walk down there and see what we're looking like. Okay, all right. A little bit more disagreement with this rifle. So now we have a torn up thumbnail. Fantastic. Let me send a round down range here. Windage looks good, but elevation was off. Hopefully I fixed that. Okay, let me walk down there, see what we're looking like. Okay, well, we were looking okay from that distance. We came out to a farther distance. We're at about 75 yards-ish now. So now we're getting to the point where I can barely see that target down there. But that's not going to stop me from trying to hit it. Well, that's a good sign. All right, let me go ahead, walk down there, whew, see what that looks like. I tell you what, I'm hungry, and all this walking is definitely giving me a workout. Well, yeehaw, guys. We might be in business here. So, now we're out here at the 100-yard line. You guys have been here plenty of times. Let me go ahead, load us up around here. And now I really can't see my target. Oh, I wish I had something besides white paint to paint that with. I need like a bright neon orange or something. Okay, let me walk down there. I didn't hear the clink of steel that time, but let me walk down there and see what that looks like. All right. That one was really close. Let me see. I made a few more minor, very delicate, less violent adjustments to the sights here. Let me send around. All right. Let me walk down there, see what that looks like. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is shaping up to be quite the accurate little rifle. We're firing 44 special cowboy loads here. So whenever I fire a 44 Magnum, I'm expecting them to hit a little bit higher because they will be higher velocity than these right here at 100 yards. So I am taking that into consideration. But for these right here, man, I'm just slinging them in and they're hitting like, they're hitting right where I'm wanting them to hit. And now I'm just making slight adjustments one way or the other. All right, that felt like a good one. All right, that is what I'm talking about right there. God, that's what? That's an inch apart, approximately, maybe an inch and a half from 44 special at 100 yards. How do you like that? Looks like I could come over to the right a little bit. I might make a slight adjustment to those sights. Because if I could get that right there, because that's where I was aiming, man, that would be incredible. I might make some adjustments on that. Yeah, I think I'll give it just the slightest little tap in that direction, and we'll see if we can't get that a little more center. Okay, all right, one gentle tap later. Let's go ahead and load up another round here. Only one gentle tap now, not even a violent tap. No sir, this one was nice and soft, like you're making delicate love to your rifle. Don't make delicate love to your rifle. All right, let me see if I can manage to get this center. That one felt good, but I have one more round in my pocket. One for the money, two for the show, three to get ready, and four to go. Yeah, buddy, that one felt good too. Let me walk down there. I'm gonna see where those rounds hit and see if I gave it too much of a non-violent tap this time. Oh boy, well I tell you what, I adjusted those sights a little bit too far. I did not hit the center where I wanted to. So I went ahead and I just kind of adjusted them back a little bit, and now we're back where we originally were. So yeah, that's pretty damn close. That's pretty damn close. About an inch to the left or so, but an inch to the left at 100 yards, that's still not that bad. As a matter of fact, I'll walk you guys over here and show you what it is that we were looking at. So these right here are the two rounds that were fired before, and then these right here are the two rounds that I fired after that. I adjusted the elevation because whenever I was firing on these two shots, I held the front sight actually above where you're supposed to hold it, so it would hit a little higher. So I adjusted the elevation and held at a normal sight picture, and we still hit low. So yeah, these right here are just gonna hit a low at the 100 yards that we're at. It makes sense with 44 special, but I adjusted. We were, hell, shooting, I don't know, 2 inches or so to the left. And then we started shooting, oh, I don't know, an inch, 2 inches, that's 1, 2, about 2 inches to 4 inches to the right. So yeah, I adjusted a little too far. And with a hammer and screwdriver, you're not exactly going to get precise adjustments. So I went ahead and I adjusted back to where we were shooting here. And I think that there's about as good as we're going to get. So the elevation is now back at this area. And we are going to hit a little bit to the right, just even the slightest adjustment with these sights, like the most minuscule adjustment, trying to get these to shoot a little bit more right. It just kind of, it was overdose, so I stuck it back to where it was, and we are going to shoot a little bit more to the left. I'm not sure if I said right or left on that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you ever so much for watching. I do appreciate your time. Even with these shooting as low as they are, I have the rear sight adjusted as high as it'll go. So I just gotta kind of Kentucky windage this bad boy. Now up at close range, we hit right where I want to hit. The elevation is not a big deal, but whenever we go out to 100 yards, we are only shooting, this is cowboy loaded 44 special at 700 and something feet per second. Not exactly a potent round, mind you. So we are gonna see some drop at 100 yards, which is what we are seeing here. I adjusted the elevation to back to where it originally was, and there's as high as the elevation will go. So I'll just have to accept that 44 cowboy special loads at 100 yards are just gonna hit a little bit low from what we're seeing out there, so I will have to hold my sights. I'll have to Kentucky windage it a little bit, but that's not that uncommon. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you ever so much for watching. Do you have good things to say about the Rossi lever action series? Because I certainly do. I really like this series of lever action rifles. I like the 92 series in general. However, I guess it all depends on the caliber it is that you get it in. I almost picked one of these up in 45 long Colt, but I wanted 1860 Henry in 45 long Colt. And if I had the 1860 Henry in 45 long Colt, I'd never touch the 45 long Colt's Rossi R92, so I didn't even bother spending money on that. So I got a 44 Magnum one, and I wanted a 44 Magnum one because 44 Magnum is one hell of a powerhouse of a cartridge, especially out of a full-length rifle barrel like this right here. Thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate your time. Like the video, subscribe. Description down below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check that out. Besides that, like I said, let me know what you guys have to say down in the comments below. I'm going to go hydrate and probably grab some more ammunition and make some more videos because I'm having a good time. I actually had my camera stand fall over on me while I was adjusting the sights. And it fell over onto me while I was like on the ground and it smacked me right in the back of the head. And it hurt. So I'm gonna go probably take an aspirin or two before I continue this. You guys go off. Have yourself a fantastic day. Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. Shame that bolt action shotguns aren't more mainstream.